all ringy tingy. Until it is painless. I keep faith in the existence of a good fight, and hope that good night might mean more than sweet dreams someday, but hope, as they say, is the opiate of the masses, that will remain passive and placid, patiently waiting on their world to change. And as long as someone's there to say that everything will be okay, they'll just keep faith that things will rearrange someday, which they will, but shit, as they say, rolls downhill, and we here in Humanville are living at the bottom of a valley. So where does that leave us? What force could lead us to the heights of realization required to rise above such BS? Or if you prefer, what God could bless this excrement into wine so we could drink our minds numb, because it seems the way things are done these days and the cost of living is just too high to pay attention to anything which does not yield a return, and yet we burn bridges without a second's reconsideration, and reconciliation is only applicable when something bad happens to you, so you stay tuned to the tube, waiting for your hopes to come through. Because the way I see it, we're too screwed by each other to even consider resistance, or rather we're too dense to recognize there's no sense in fighting the system, because it only gives it momentum. We seem to have forgotten Brother Fronte's wisdom that violence brings one thing: more and more of the same, and any change that comes from it will mean nothing, because at its essence all violence is the same thing: a nexus for negativity, an excuse to make an enemy, and an abuse of perfectly good energy that could have been used productively, or thoughtfully, or purposely, at least. And as long as we're at war, we'll keep dividing, and the separate sects that arise will keep on fighting, because they know they're right, like I am, and every man among my kind. But some of our minds were made in an irradiated atmosphere. Our fear has a half-life 5 times the length of a lifetime, and our tongues are devolved into sub-reptilian habits so that moral mutants and ego addicts could keep at it, keep spewing the same acidic thoughts into the mainstream, the same stream we here in Humanville use to fill our thirst. So this outrage is not an angry outburst, but rather a call to arms. Come on, my adaptable friends, these limbs can bear more than just weapons. Like, these brains could retain more misconceptions than you could shake a stick at, and some ideas are hard to get at speaking softly, so form a philosophy and invest in it. Use your energy to make an existence you can exist in. Persist in every endeavor that promotes understanding, whether interpersonal, intrapersonal, or just too damn personal to put in a poem. Pursue it, and do it with the utmost conviction and caution. Conviction in the fact that the way you act does in fact affect everyone, and will in time gain momentum. Caution that it don't carry you the wrong direction. If it does, then post-protection, make sure you can stand against it. Don't defend it just because you started it. There's no room for ignorance in a world of bliss, like there's no need for violence to resist such toxic concepts. Just a bit of confidence and a conscientious conscience awake enough to make such distinctions, because there's a big difference between an open palm and a closed fist, though. Would be easy to miss if your eyes were closed to it now, wouldn't it? So zoom out a bit, try and get a panoramic gander of the world we walk in, the power of perception and the absurd notion of manifestation being somehow make-believe. Now, strive to achieve synchronicity and understanding of it. As a general rule, if you feel that you completely and entirely get it, you're probably missing out on something very important. Yet, I keep faith that a good fight exists, if only to resist the urge to respond to every aggravation with a clenched fist, instead of just using this, and this, and hope. Hope that someday we may understand the effects of our thoughts and actions, but hope, as they say, in one hand, shit in the other. We'll just have to see what happens.